as they went down the race course. As we see, the next race is already on the course, and we are into Semifinal A of the men's Youth 4. So it's the first race for Colleen and myself to talk about coxswains. And why don't you set the field for us?
Yeah, we won't be able to help ourselves because we're both retired coxswains. The field, though, is Montclair out of lane 1. It is Cincinnati out of lane 2, then Belmont Hill lane 3, Christian Brothers lane 4, out of lane 5 Marin, and lane 6 local favorite Sarasota.
So your top qualifier coming in was Christian Brothers in lane 4. They won the time trial by 3 seconds over the rest of the field. They're out of Lincroft, New Jersey. And as we come through 500, look at that shot. It is the boat from Christian Brothers that is out in front. And then it was literally dead level. You're going to see the times come through between Belmont Hill, Cincinnati Juniors, and Montclair. And it still looks like it. You can see that the bows of those 3 boats that I just mentioned in lanes 1 through 3, the bow balls are right at the coxswain's head of that boat in the in lane 4 from Christian Brothers. So what a race we've got going on early. These 4s, it's a little, as the boats get a little bit bigger, it's harder for a move to really make a huge effect on the race course. Everybody in this thing, though, look at this shot we have from the drone. Even lane 6 Sarasota, lane 5 Marin, 2 traditional powerhouses in youth rowing, still in this thing and connected with everybody except maybe Christian Brothers as they come through 750. Look at this race we got going on here. Our first coxed race of our morning. It's the men's Youth 4.
Yeah, nice press from Christian's Brothers in the black boat out of lane 4, and then just on their tail, it's Belmont Hill out of lane 3. Of course, it's 3 to advance, same progression as we've had all morning, so 3 to advance to the A final. As David mentioned, yes, it takes, with the bigger boats with more athletes, those moves can take a little bit longer to sort of manifest. So if you call for a power 10 or some kind of a move, it can take a little bit longer than what we've seen right in the doubles and the pairs, etc. But the opposite proves true as well. There's a little bit more room to make a small mistake here or there and be able to collectively come back. So the bigger the boats get, that's kind of the scenario we're looking at. Christian Brothers, though, holding their lead, Belmont Hill, and we can see times pop up on the graphic. Then it's over to Montclair and Cincinnati Juniors, so close. In fact, dead even at that
look at
point
this.
at the
All
1,000.
4 of these boats in places 3 through 6 are separated by less than a second. That's your shot. Those are 4 boats going for that 3rd place coveted position. If you're the coxswain in one of these boats, you're thinking at the halfway point, you got to let the rowers know where they stand and let them know that they're in a dogfight and that they're going to have to find the second 1,000 of their lives here to put themselves in an A final in the men's Youth 4. I love those overhead shots as well because we see even how these boats are rigged. You see that boat from Marin right there in the middle of the picture. You see 2 oars on the same side in consecutive seats. That's called a bucket. And you're seeing that also from Christian Brothers, who's been out in front all the way. But if you look at the boat next to them from Belmont Hill, it's more traditionally rigged. There's not two oars on the same side in consecutive seats. Belmont Hill, a very long tradition in the men's Youth 4. And they're showing it here, going with Christian Brothers out front of this field, and it's just going to come down to it. Everybody else is still in the mix for that 3rd place spot. Just an awesome race in Semifinal A of the men's Youth 4.
Yeah, that rigging really working for them, right? It just allows them, their coach will make that decision to essentially just match power and match length and really look for precision and symmetry. So that's working for them right now, Christian Brothers, as we move towards the last stretch. You see the times coming up at the 1,500 meter mark, which means there is less than 500 to go, 3 to qualify. Christian Brothers leads.
Marin, a solid 3rd place now. So at the halfway point, it really was extremely close. Now it's Marin's 3rd place to try to fight everybody away from. They're sitting in the driver's seat for 3rd place as Christian Brothers moves it out to a full length over Belmont Hill. Belmont Hill with about 3/4 of a length over a hard charging Marin. Is anybody going to be able to go with Marin? I think maybe not here. Marin really showing it. So I don't know if it was a coxswain, deciding to tell the rowers to take up the stroke rating. And it's maybe even slightly, to my eye, a little bit disjointed in the Marin boat, but it doesn't make any difference. They're showing speed, and it's really power through the water that has them sitting in a qualifying position for the A final, Colleen. Last 200 meters for your leader, Christian Brothers. They have a full length on Belmont Hill. Belmont Hill with a full length on Marin. You don't see Sarasota in the picture. They're in lane 6. And it's gonna come down to it here, but it is Marin who decided at 500 to go that they really wanted that third place spot.
Yeah, what a push from Marin. They took up the stroke rate. They found another level power-wise. They'll need to hold that for these last 20 strokes or so. It looks like they're in a position to do so. Of course, on the far side, though, these athletes charging towards them, Cincinnati. It looks like Marin will be able to hold. So it will be Christian Brothers then to win the semi and cross through first. Then it's over to Belmont Hill. And closest to us from the tower and the shore, lane 5, that is Marin, another youth powerhouse program. And we can just see, I love, David, watching them sort of celebrate those who did make it through. And of course, it's disappointing for those who did not.
Well, and they know what they did because they've got a coxswain in there letting them know that really what they did at 500 meters got them into the A final. So we're looking at semifinal B of the men's youth 4. I'll set the field for you. In lane 1, it's St. Louis. Lane 2 is RowAmerica Rye. Lane 3 is Nobles. Lane 4 is Newport. Lane 5, Maritime. And in lane 6 is St. Joe's Prep. So we have a couple of Scholastic boats in here in Nobles and St. Joe's Prep. And again, if you remember, Colleen, St. Joe's won their semifinal of the men's pair earlier. And as I said, looking at the times in the men's youth 8, they, I think, had the fastest time in the time trial. So we could be seeing a very fast across the board St. Joe's Prep team here if they can get the 4 into the grand final as well. But they're in the first 250 or 500 meters. That sign right there that they just came through is 250. And we're starting to get a picture here of this field. No rest for the weary. These races just continue to keep going off and coming at us. It does look like lane 3 is the boat that's out in front at the moment. That's Nobles in that black boat. But look how close it is with everyone else.
Yeah, we dare not call exactly who's running second or third at the moment. No doubt about it. Nobles is leading. Still overlap with the rest of the field, but just an absolutely beautiful shot of the rest of the field, right? Tightly packed as they come through 500 meters down. It's Nobles to cross first, a minute 33.4. Then it is St. Louis with the second fastest time. Then over to Maritime running third, but just barely. I mean, it is ever so packed in the second quarter of the race.
Look at this. Yikes. Look at this picture. 10 feet separating 5 boats. The only thing we know is that Nobles is out in front. They're not even in the picture at the moment. And you've got 6 boats across. You have the coxswain you can see in that lane 6 boat. The St. Joe's Prep boat, he's only got to look one way to his left to see everybody that he's racing against for a spot in the grand final. How's this going to shape up in the middle 1,000 is going to tell us a lot, because 5 boats connected at this point coming through 500 meters and separated by about a second and a half doesn't tell us much of anything other than everybody is still there. As they come through 750, I don't even know. Maybe lane 5, Maritime showing some speed, but it's really not, it's almost not worth calling still, because it sort of is whoever is finding a little bit more momentum is kind of in the qualifying positions. It still is about 10 feet separating 4 boats. The only one maybe that's dropped off just slightly is RowAmerica Rye, but that is a very strong program with a lot of very fast athletes in RowAmerica Rye, so I'd keep my eye on them. I don't think that falling half a length off the pace is going to mean a whole lot at this point.
St. Louis starting to poke their bow out. That was a shot of the Nobles crew, but St. Louis bow number 1 starting to separate themselves a little bit from the field. There's still 1,000 meters to go, and 3 to advance. Maritime starting to separate themselves as well. But yeah, David, I'll let you call the exact order of all the crews, because I dare not. It is truly so close. Nobles, though, holding on to their lead. Newport, in fact, with the fastest time yesterday, although you've been keeping me honest, David, it doesn't matter, right? When you get lined up, when you line up next to the competition, really anything can happen. But Nobles out of lane 3, holding on a good open water, then back to the rest of the field. First, second, and third to advance to the A final and a shot at the medals.
And that's a picture of Nobles, your leader out of the Boston area. They do have a commanding lead. That's all we know. I really think that anybody in the rest of the field could put themselves in the A final. You got a shot there of lane 1, that's St. Louis. Lane 5, that is Maritime. Look at that. All 5 of those boats are white shells, and they're all connected. So maybe 20 feet separating these 5, and it's really going to come down to guts. It's going to come down to what the coxswain has to do with this race in terms of motivating the athletes and calling the race plan in the last 500 meters. This is the type of race that is not comfortable, but again, we've talked about it. This type of race that you're going to remember the rest of your lives, even though it's only a semifinal. At this U.S. Rowing Youth National Regatta, maybe pulling out a little bit of St. Louis, maybe trying to go with them even is RowAmerica Rye now. They're right back into the mix. I said don't count them out, but still in second place is the boat, in second place, it looks like the boat from Maritime. We'll see the times come through. 500 meters to go. Here we go. It's going to come down to it. This one's going to come right down to the line for those spots in the grand final.
And RowAmerica pushing St. Louis. St. Louis with a nice press in the second quarter of the race and through the 1,000. RowAmerica out of lane 2 just next to them with an answer. So we'll keep an eye on them. And then, yes, Maritime as well out of lane 5. It looks like those 3 are gunning for a second or a third place position, a qualifying position. We see Nobles out ahead, barring any mistakes. They will advance. But we know that there's only 3 to qualify, and right now RowAmerica, St. Louis, and Maritime are all battling for it, and Newport not to be left out. They're about a half a length behind those 3, but they're still starting to run out of time in the final 250, but could find a surge. It's Nobles on the move. It looks like St. Louis wants to make a go for it, David. RowAmerica with them.
25 strokes left. This is as good as it gets. This is where the adrenaline really starts pumping. If you're one of the athletes in these boats and the coxswain is telling you, look, you're in a qualifying position, we got to hang on to it, or look, we need a couple seats to get into a qualifying position. That's where it is now. We're looking for 3 boats to move through to the A final. It's Nobles trying to go start to finish, put themselves in the A final, even though they didn't come in with the top qualifying time. They are going to put themselves in the A final as Nobles, and it's going to come right down to it. It's going to be a photo finish. You do have 3 boats in the mix. It's St. Louis. It's RowAmerica Rye. It's Maritime in lane 5. Unofficially, it's going to be St. Louis by about a seat ahead of RowAmerica Rye. RowAmerica Rye about 3/4 of a length ahead of Maritime, who will finish 3/4 of a length ahead of Newport. And finishing unofficially in 6th place is the boat from lane 6, St. Joe's Prep. Wow, what a race. My adrenaline's going. We have the women next.
And a good sprint from Oak Neck to take 4th. Back up at the start, though. This is Marin out of lane 1, St. Louis lane 2, Christian Brothers lane 3. It's Nobles lane 4, Belmont Hill lane 5, and RowAmerica Rye out of lane 6. RowAmerica Rye with a great regatta and a lot of depth across the weekend, David.
Yep, we're going to see a lot of RowAmerica Rye boats in many of the boat classes coming. Here we go. This is our first 5-athlete race of our championship here for the A finals, and a really quick start out of lane 3, Christian Brothers, and we'll see sort of where these boats shape up as they come through 250. You see the buoys that they're coming through are still red. They're going to change to yellow. That's at the 100-meter point in our 2,000-meter race course. It's a long race, and it's going to be about 6.5 minutes for these 4s as they come down. It is those sort of zebra-looking jerseys, the horizontal stripes of Christian Brothers out into the early lead. And what I was looking at coming in, obviously we haven't had, this is 2 years in the making, this championship. Our last one was 2019, but we do have 3 boats that were in the grand final in this boat class with Belmont Hill, who took, you see them there in the gold boat. They took the bronze medal in 2019 there in lane 5. You also had RowAmerica Rye and Christian Brothers in that grand final, but both of them finishing respectively in 5th and 6th place. So they're going to look to improve upon that as you start to see a big push now from Nobles.
Nobles, yeah, over the last 20, 30 strokes, look at them challenge Christian Brothers. Nobles now pressing themselves out. A look then at the full field, and it is Nobles leading. A really nice power move from that shell over the last 30, 40 strokes or so. Puts them in that first place advantage. It's Belmont Hill then running just behind them, and on the other side, St. Louis. So the there's 3 shells in the center. It's Nobles first to cross into the body of the race, and then just on the other side of them, it's looking like Christian Brothers then holding second, with Belmont Hill running third.
Very, very powerful looking in that Nobles boat. And you're right, they just kind of turned on the jets, or really maybe it was their shift that just found more speed that they shifted into than the rest of the field. As you see a good shot there, that is the boat from Belmont Hill, the gold boat. And then you see that gray boat with those striped unisuits. That is Christian Brothers. So they are trailing Nobles. Nobles is in between them in a lane 4, but over to the right. As we see coming into the picture, that's lane 2, St. Louis. So they are in the mix here, and they've been fast in the 4s over the last 5 or so years at this regatta. So it still is sort of anybody's game, but they're going to have to make sure that Nobles they don't lose touch with Nobles. There's only one boat, it looks like, Christian Brothers, with any maybe connection on Nobles at the moment, and they may not quite have a connection. It's interesting for the coxswain in that Nobles boat. It looks like she is not going to be able to see anybody the rest of the race if they stay out front. So again, we talked about it in earlier rounds. The coxswain's laying down in the bow of the boat. It shifts to look, we're out in front, and continuing to motivate, but she can't really call the speeds of the other boats.
And then a look back just behind her, that's lanes 3 and 5, Christian Brothers and Belmont Hill. Christian Brothers with the advantage over Belmont Hill, so quite the battle happening as they move through that halfway point. It's Nobles to get there first, 3:14, and then just behind them, the Christian Brothers holding on to that second place position, ever so close, about 0.4 of a second separating them, and then it's back to the rest of the field. So race is on for medals. Nobles in hot pursuit of the gold. Christian Brothers at the moment holding on to that silver position, with Belmont running third. So it'll take a lot to catch up to Nobles, but really the race happening for silver.
Yeah, starting to see some speed from St. Louis. You saw a picture there briefly of what's going on for 4th, 5th, and 6th place, as we now give you what's going on for the silver medal. Again, it's Christian Brothers at the top of the screen. It is Belmont Hill at the bottom of the screen. Belmont Hill, a very, very long tradition of rowing in these 4s out of the Boston area, and they're going to try to win another medal here for their school at the Youth National Championships. 12:50, so 750 meters left for the 2 boats on the screen, but it's still Nobles well out in front over on the right. They'd be on the right side of the screen coming down, and it's Christian Brothers, and they put on maybe a little bit of move there to take a seat or 2 more on Belmont Hill. It's going to be difficult to track down Nobles, so I'm looking at whether any of these other boats can start challenging these 2 that are locked into this race for silver and bronze.
Christian Brothers with the push puts them just a little bit further ahead of Belmont Hill. So Belmont Hill will need to think about going early as they approach the last 500 meters to really solidify that bronze. Look at Christian Brothers. It looks like they've taken maybe another half a seat or so, really starting to press. Nobles, no doubt, holding that first place position. Christian Brothers going after the silver. Belmont as you come through this very last stretch, last 300-400 meters that you just maintain. So Christian Brothers for the silver, at least at the moment. Belmont Hill about a half a length or so back behind them. Nobles well on their way for the gold.
Yeah, you pointed out Marin. They're all the way up there in lane 1. They have pushed into 4th place. They kind of have been sitting in 5th or 6th all the way down the track. And so that connection that we had 4th, 5th, and 6th place is being won right now by Marin. But right now it's Christian Brothers. They're trying to close the gap on Nobles. 250 meters left for a national championship for Nobles out in front. They've got a length of open water back to Christian Brothers as Belmont Hill tries to put on a push to track down Christian Brothers. But those are your top 3, and it is pretty spaced out. Marin is continuing to move up in lane 1, but they still don't even quite have a connection on that 3rd place boat, Belmont Hill. So here they come. These coxswains are letting their rowers know what they need to do. You've got in the 1st place position Nobles. They've got some open water back to Christian Brothers. Christian Brothers open water back to Belmont Hill. as they get into the last 15 strokes for all 6 boats coming toward the line.
Look out for Marin. Marin on the hunt to get themselves onto the podium. Nobles well on their way for that gold medal. Christian Brothers have asserted themselves in that silver medal position. Belmont Hill holds it for the bronze, but look out for Marin. Marin charging. Belmont Hill continuing to hold that 3rd place position. Christian Brothers through the line for the silver. Belmont Hill solidifies the bronze, and then a nice surge from RowAmerica Rye at the end. We'll have exact unofficial times and results up in just a moment, but Nobles with the gold, Christian Brothers for the silver, Belmont Hill for the bronze.